until a time when man forgets the way of the earth. Are we not there now? And the Kachina will remind them. The pulses of men's imbalance rings out louder each year in the form of what man calls climate change and its effects. But it is the climate of man which must and will change, with or without man's appreciation, or for that matter, apprehension. For what is happening, a cosmic performance before our eyes, may be now unfolding across time and space, written in the stars, in the sun, moon, and stars. In my Bible, it says. But there's teaching of who the Hopi will be, untold to or unheard, depending upon who one becomes in the fourth world, which will determine which one or who will come into the fifth or not. To the Hopi, these are not random crises, but signs. Jesus also said that at the end there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. Will we say these people did not get the same message? Is that like saying Jesus didn't talk to the Hopi, so they didn't get the message? Hopi called Jesus the one who brings peace. Will you dispute that? Or only part of a wholesome belief that echoes of prophecies that now exist in both spirit and science? Can they actually be one and the same? A scientific myth? Is that even possible? Does that really exist? Either way, according only to one's preferred belief, the Hopi said the sky would turn red before blue Kachina vanishes. Could they have spoken on different levels of thought, like Hebrew homiletics and exegesis, where they speak at a Dros or Remez level, where the blue and red Kachina aren't referred to literally as colors, but rather to states of consciousness, blue to awakening, red to destruction. Maybe Atlas is not a passing star, but a reflection of change about to occur. They teach that when the dancer has begun to move, the star beings will come. Hopi see the sky as a vast collection of watchers, among them Kachinas, luminous beings who once walked among humanity. In other words, by definition of most, disembodied spirits, ghosts, interdimensional beings, principalities and powers that exceed human ability, mortal human ability. You may be human, but not mortal. That sort of thing. But preferred reference according to culture and intent. They are said to have, in ancient times, descended in columns of light, cloaked in brightness, speaking through symbols and song, rather than through words. When humanity began to turn from the sacred, forgetting reverence, gratitude, and balance, the Kachinas left, vowing to return when the world loses its way again. This year, 2025, has delivered reports across the Four Corners region of atop mesas at night, blue orbs of light being reported atop these peaks, and of silver spheres during the day. I've seen these, I've photographed these and posted these myself. I live beside a mesa, Superstition Mountain. It has that sort of activity almost all the time over by Weaver's Needle at night. Especially around places like that, Sedona, Mount Graham, and so on. Locals question their own belief whether the Hopi spirit shadows have begun to reveal themselves again. The disembodied spirits of the past, they who are believed to not be gods, but rather intermediaries between the living and divine. In between disembodied and bodied. They're just out there. In between. Some manifesting materialistically, or as working through aspects of nature, such as rain, fire, fertility, lightning, wisdom, and through them humanity learned how to coexist with Earth's rhythms. But among those, many spirits were those that the elders called kakas. Kaka sounds like excrement, as in Lord of the Flies. The flies stick to the kaka. They were sky beings, so they said. The Hopi said. Watchers from beyond the stars, the kakas from above. But seriously, that's what they called them. And was said to have come in flying shields, luminous and silent. An Indian UFO lore, I guess. You suppose they believed in them the way we do? Denying them, but everyone knows Was it real? No. They saw them, they believed it, and they said so. Why turn it around to mean something different? An Indian UFO who taught them how to build, plant, and sing. It came from somewhere, guys. The ancients even carved the image of these star beings into stone. They look like what we today call grays, with little bodies, large heads, and eyes. You know, Indian tradition says that the ant people came down and, well, came up out of the ground, but they came to the people. Not came down, they came to the people. And invited them into the ground, and that's how they survived. The last time everything got destroyed. I mean, we've had comets. We had a comet hit the Yucatán Peninsula, down in Mexico. Yucatan Peninsula down in Mexico. Took out the dinosaurs. So, yeah, allegedly cavemen, dinosaurs, and now us. So somebody survived. These carvings were not intended to be as warnings, but as promises of teachers to come once man loses it again. Wouldn't that make extraterrestrials ancestrals? Oh, if they're living in the earth, they're earthlings, right? They're human form, then they're humans, but they may not be mortal man, created in the image of God. Or they may be B'nai Elohim, sons of God, created the way God created them. They're going to be something because God created everything. So, there you go. White Feather said they would return when men's hearts grew cold and his mind became heavy with metals. Probably referring to our techno world as seen as far back in time, before the Industrial Revolution. Are we beginning to put an imagery together here, fellas? Not just from Hopi perspective, but all observations count as descriptive to the event as it unfolds, if it ever does, if it is right now. All ifs about it, not none. There are no ifs about it. There are all ifs about it. What if? Hopi belief holds that when the Kachina removes its mask in the sky, like the mortal man wearing the mask of the Kachina takes it off, it will be revelation. Sounds like the book of Revelation to me. Both cosmic and morality coming to truth. These pulses, signals that repeat, coming from Atlas